Hello everyone, my name is Binks and welcome back to Let's Play The Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, where we're continuing in the fifth case of the game. As I said last episode, I'm having some issues with Steam and save files and stuff, so I'm a little paranoid. So I decided, as hungry as I am, I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to record the next episode right after this. So fingers crossed that after this episode, everything will still be saved and okay, because I'm sure I'm not going to be able to beat the game right now, but I'm trying my best, trying to get through it as fast as possible. All right. But finally, after a really great episode about family and also some big revelations and explanations, we're finally going back to court for what I believe is like the final court part of the game. All right. November 4th, 9:30 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Familiar scene? How many times do we have to stand here like this? Before we begin today, I have a brief announcement. As with the closed trial 10 years ago, some astonishing facts have come to light in these proceedings. The revelation that the well-known Reaper is actually an organization illegally executing its own brand of justice. And the discovery that a respected yard inspector was at its heart until he himself perished in an assassination plot. Well, I say to all members of the tongue of the judiciary here present on this occasion, that we will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Counsels, you will undertake this trial with the resolve to pursue the truth to the bitter end. Did you say resolve? Resolve. Yes, that's my intention. My lord, if I may inquire, the defendant may speak. On what grounds is Kazuma Asogi permitted to continue in his role as prosecutor? He has a good point. After the fact that Kazuma almost was an assassin? Like, come on now. He has admitted to colluding with the victim in a plot to assassinate an innocent man. He shouldn't be enjoying the privilege of freedom, let alone be leading the prosecution. Agreed. As much as I love you, buddy. I submitted a written petition to Lord Strongheart, requesting that judgment of my transgressions be delayed by 1 day. You did what? In today's proceedings, I intend to expose everything. My whole life for the last 10 years has all been leading up to this 1 day. Kazuma. And then after this, what, you're gonna end up in prison? Oh no. That's what I think might happen. I mean, because of the whole him being from Japan, maybe it'll be a lighter sentence, but I don't know. I don't think it's gonna end very well for you, buddy. Even if we prove that you're not a murderer, the fact that you were going to commit murder is still not good. Whatever the outcome of this trial, I give my word that I will accept whatever punishment is deemed appropriate, however severe. And I suggest you prepare yourself for the same, Reaper. Kazuma is bristling with hostility today. I get the distinct impression we're heading into very dangerous territory. Because he's like someone with nothing to lose, you know? And that's not good. Is that really even Kazuma-sama standing before us?
As an extreme exception to normal practices, I have granted this prosecutor's request.
And because you like the fact that he's so bitter and angry towards Von Zeke, so you want to take advantage of that.
The defense finds this acceptable, I presume.
Yes, my lord.
In that case, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed hearing of Barak Van Zieks.
The defense is ready, my lord.
The prosecution is more than ready. Very well then. This preamble has taken long enough. Prosecutor Sogi, begin.
As you wish. Wrong voice. As you wish, my lord. The prosecution calls the first witness to the stand. Bring Seishiro Jigoku into this courtroom. At last, then, we've reached the final battle. He's putting literally everything on the line now in order to get to the truth. Come on, Ryunosuke. It's time for that steely resolve, because this is going to test it to the limit. Here we go. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court.
Huh. So it was you who issued this, was it?
Your subpoena. I did what was necessary.
Well, look what the young man has become. I didn't think I'd see the day when you take that tone with me, I must say.
Alright. Are you and Strongheart gonna fight over which one is more Gant-like? Because right now, he's kind of winning over Strongheart. He feels more Gant. At least his personality feels more Gant. But then again, Gant had like two sides to him. So you're more of the jovial side right now. Whereas Strongheart is more of the serious, intimidating side. So it's cool. I like it. I can dig it. Two villains. Both based on the same great villain.
The witness will ensure his responses are pertinent to the questions asked. My name is Seishiro Jigoku, a Supreme Court judge from the Empire of Japan.
16 years ago, this man came to London as a visiting student. 6 years later, he returned to Japan. As well as presiding over the Supreme Court, he is also currently Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs.
I am of course fully aware of Mr. Jigoku and his preeminent roles. I invited him personally to the International Forensic Science Symposium as a representative of his country. I hear he also played a key role in the conclusion of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. Oh, it was a great honor to be involved in the negotiations. I put my all into that treaty.
Judge Jigoku, I must ask.
Well, I never. Fancy the young murdering student turning up here of all places.
Wow. You pretended to be all nice and friendly with me before, but you keep forgetting the fact that I was innocent. You acquitted me yourself. And now I'm a practicing defense lawyer.
Yes, and full of self-importance like your friend across the courtroom, I see.
You came here to London by invitation to the International Forensic Science Symposium. But then, without informing anyone of your plans, you took flight to France.
Took flight? I'd have to object to that turn of phrase.
Then explain yourself. What exactly were the circumstances?
Well, I was somewhat expecting this, and I'm sorry to say I decline to comment.
You can't plead the fifth. What the frick? What?
Leaving the country prematurely when I was an invited guest may be questionable etiquette, but my decision is unrelated to this case. I can't be bound to testify.
You gonna hide behind your position or whatever?
Unrelated, you say?
Oh. You guys gonna have a little battle of wills over here about your positions? Strongheart does not look happy. And two alpha males face off.
I appreciate that a respected police inspector has been killed, for which I offer my condolences. However, being an alien,
That term is so weird to me.
I'd obviously never met the man, nor do I know the first thing about him. As such, I'm in no position to testify. It's as simple as that.
So, you would run from all this.
I beg your pardon?
This case is more far-reaching than the murder of Inspector Gregson. It has ties to another murder, a case that was tried in Japan almost a year ago now.
A year ago in Japan? The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson, you mean?
That's right, and you, Judge Jigoku, are at the heart of both cases. The defense has evidence to prove it. Oh, get him.
Well, Ryunosuke, I see from the look in your eyes that you're resolved to carry this through to the very end, too. Let's see your evidence, then. What proof do you have that Seishiro Jigoku is involved in this case?
Well, we just got that he had the freaking telegram. Yeah. How you gonna explain this? This is a telegram detailing a communication sent between Britain and Japan approximately 1 year ago. The communication contained 4 names: K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, and J. Wilson.
Hold it. You little...
You gonna break this stand like you did back in the day? Oh no.
Where did you get that?
In Tokyo. From your office, Judge Jigoku.
What? How on earth did you...
What's this all about? Why is my name on that list? This list of 4 names follows a certain pattern. T. Gregson and J. Wilson are the names of victims. K. Asogi and A. Shin are the names of assassins.
No.
A year ago in Tokyo, Dr. John H. Wilson's life was taken in a Western-style restaurant in the capital. The culprit was found to be a visiting student who went by the name of Giselle Brett, but her real name was Assassin, a professional killer sent on a mission to kill from Great Britain. A. Shin and her victim, Jay Wilson. And the murder that just took place here in London was the counterpart to that crime. An assassin sent from Japan, also a visiting student, Kazuma Asogi, whose victim was the British police inspector, Tobias Gregson. I mean, we're kind of having to point the finger at him already. K. Asogi and T. Gregson. One assassin from each country to kill a target residing in the other.
What exactly is the defense suggesting?
These two cases of murder, one that took place in Britain and one in Japan, were masterminded by a pair of individuals from each country as a form of assassin exchange. Yeah, let's get to it. We know that Jigoku was one of the masterminds. Now we just gotta pin the other one. Come on. And the telegram the defense has acquired is proof of this international contract to kill.
What?
The telegram was found in your office, Judge Jigoku. In other words, the mastermind in Japan was you. Oh, this is getting real good already. Oh, but how long until we pin down Strongheart, man? It's probably gonna take a while.
Judge Jigoku, what's this all about?
He seems almost betrayed? And you, Kazuma, you lied. During yesterday's proceedings, you acknowledged that you'd accepted the assassination mission. But the mark wasn't Judge Jigoku at all. It was T. Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard, as shown by the name on the killing contract. Damn, Kazuma. You really did lie to us. Oh, man. And it looks like he used his trunk to block your attack, but then what?
Very impressive, Ryunosuke. But actually, I didn't lie.
Oh?
The name of the target I was ordered to kill never passed my lips yesterday.
Oh, aren't you slick?
The idea that Seishiro Jigoku was the mark came entirely from you.
You deliberately avoided saying a name.
The defense claims these four names indicate some sort of international assassin exchange. I'm sure I speak for all present when I say that the very idea seems utterly absurd. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what do you have to say for yourself?
His silence only goes to prove his guilt. There's another very important point that this new development brings to light. There's now a distinct possibility that the scene of Inspector Gregson's actual murder was in the witness's cabin aboard the SS Grouse. Yeah, that makes sense. Judge Jigoku, you have to testify now. To refuse would put you in contempt of court. And we know they have ice on that ship.
There's no need for quite such a vicious stare, young man. Very well, then. As a parting gift to you all, I'll tell you everything I know.
Parting gift, huh?
It seems this Japanese gentleman has information that the court must hear. about the alleged assassin exchange and the events of the night of the 31st of October. Present your formal testimony now. As you wish, my lord.
Alright.
It's true that Kazuma Asogi was assigned the assassination mission 1 year ago now. The target was Inspector T. Gregson. That was a condition of the British study tour. However, in the end something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. On the evening in question, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all times. If there'd been a shot fired, the crewman would have heard it, so clearly I can't be involved.
No. Hold on. First of all, where is the... Autopsy report doesn't have a time of death, right? It just has... indeterminate. That doesn't help. It's because of the ice. Anyway, we can't determine that, but we do know from the evacuation drill that the crew, all crew was on deck for 20 minutes at 10 p.m. So that's when it could have happened, clearly. That has to be it. Very easy. So you admit it then, as this communication suggests. There really was an assassin exchange arrangement between Britain and Japan.
A political endeavor at the highest levels, not something I can discuss here.
To use such a worthy practice as foreign study to coerce somebody to commit murder. It's the most appalling thing I've ever heard.
Appalling? Well, it's easy to judge.
Pardon?
Asogi had a reason for taking his sword to that British inspector, you know.
What?
Which is why he accepted the mission in the first place. Isn't that right, Counsel?
Yeah, I can see why. It all goes back to what happened to his father. Kazuma-sama? If Gregson hadn't insisted on the autopsy, then this wouldn't have happened. Judge Jigoku, if you are the mastermind behind this operation in Japan, then tell the court the identity of your counterpart in Britain.
I'm not obliged to divulge that information.
Why are you protecting him?
As I said yesterday, I've killed nobody. I freely admit that I've accepted the mission, but on the night the plan was to be executed, I backed out. In short, this assassin exchange that the defense has identified is unrelated to the events of this case.
Oh, come on. It is related, even if you did back off.
The crucial point is this. Your police inspector can't have perished aboard that steamship in Dunkirk. Because if he'd been shot in the cabin, it's inconceivable that a member of the crew wouldn't have heard it.
That's right. And the thing is that I don't see Kazuma as someone who would shoot someone. He has his swords, you know, and we saw he did attack him with a sword. Gregson was killed after returning to London, in the room on Fresno Street. And the perpetrator of the crime was the Reaper, Barak van Zieks. The prosecution's accusation remains unchanged.
To think that a seemingly innocent foreign exchange program was a facade for such Machiavellian dealings. Clearly, it's a plot on a government minister and high-ranking judge such as the witness could hope to execute. Well, I seem to recall that it was someone on the British side who controlled everything.
He's like, don't do this. You control freak. Don't talk shit about me. I could talk shit about you if I want to. They're walking the tightrope here, kind of thinly threatening each other constantly, huh?
Be that as it may, it is not the place of this court to pursue this villainous assassin exchange plot. We are concerned only with the tangible events pertaining to the murder of Inspector Gregson. Is the defense clear on that point, counsel?
Oh, you just don't want us to examine that more closely. Got it. Yes, my lord. I'll keep that in mind as I cross-examine the witness. Sure, whatever. Okay. Which one can I present it? It was the one where he was saying that he was outside the whole time. If there had been a shot fired, you would have heard it. No, it must be this one. That he was there at all times, right? It has to be this one. Where is her? Here we go.
Objection!
Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Yes, as the court has heard, there was a crewman posted outside Judge Jigoku's cabin. However, we can be sure that, contrary to the witness's claim, the guard wasn't there at all times.
What?
I have here a notice of a particular event that was scheduled to take place aboard the steamship on the 31st.
Where did you get that?
It's evidence gathered by Mr. Sherlock Holmes. You were acquainted yesterday, if you remember.
Sherlock Holmes again.
Get it. According to this itinerary, after leaving the port of Dunkirk at exactly 10 p.m. and for a period of 20 minutes, all crewmen of the SS Grouse were to gather on deck for an evacuation drill.
All crewmen were away from their posts.
And during that 20-minute interval, of course, any gunshots emanating from your cabin would have been heard by no one. In summary, Judge Jigoku, you had ample opportunity to commit the crime.
Objection!
A 20-minute window of opportunity. That's an excellent find, Ryunosuke. But it amounts to nothing.
Why?
Because the witness clearly stated in his testimony that no incident occurred in his cabin. Unless you have some decisive evidence that can show his testimony to be false.
Oh, we got evidence, all right. Something that connects him directly to Gregson.
Your accusation is nothing more than conjecture. Very true. Well, counsel.
Inspector Gregson was killed in Judge Jigoku's cabin that night. I'm certain of it. Because the defense has the evidence to prove it.
You will present the evidence for the defense at once, counsel. What proof do you have that the victim's life was taken in Jigoku's cabin on the 31st?
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Take that!
Judge Jigoku, this was found in your cabin yesterday.
What is that? The crown of a pocket watch. A pocket watch.
And if you will observe, the victim's pocket watch, which we know he treasured, is missing precisely that part.
It can't be.
Moreover, this crown is a perfect fit on the spindle protruding from the victim's watch. Now, the fact that this was retrieved from Judge Jigoku's cabin tells us that the victim's watch almost certainly broke there. In other words, the victim was killed on the 31st during the 20-minute evacuation drill. In the cabin occupied by you, Judge Jigoku.
Well, you're razor sharp, aren't you? You young murderer.
Will you stop calling him that, you jerk? You're the murderer here. How dare you?
Objection!
Expertly maneuvered, Ryunosuke. And your argument sounds entirely plausible. At first. But rather like this pocket watch. It's full of cracks.
Uh-oh. What's he gonna say? What?
And I believe Judge Jigoku feels the same way. And I was wrong to acquit you earlier in the year.
You keep calling me a murderer. So, it's very clear you do definitely feel that way. Sorry.
If I'd known that it would result in anyone having to listen to this drivel, I would have declared you guilty, just to spare the world your ridiculous bombast.
Wow. Corrupt mother effer.
I think it's clear that the witness will have to give further testimony. When you hear what actually happened in my cabin that night, you'll notice the pitfall into which you've stumbled. Prior to your renewed testimony, I would like to clarify one point. The fact that this part of the victim's watch was discovered in your cabin means that you acknowledge he was there, I presume. Yes, I do. Very well, then. You may proceed to give your formal testimony about what exactly happened in your cabin aboard the ship on the evening of the 31st of October. Of course, as a man of the law, I have no intention of obstructing justice.
Sure. Whatever. My throat's getting a little tired because I just recorded that last episode and now this one.
I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing my evening meal in the dining room. When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me. I soon took care of him with an ippon seo throw. Oh, an ippon seoi throw, though. He couldn't wait to run away after that.
Oh, you judo threw him. Got it.
I imagine his watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder. It has nothing to do with his murder.
I kind of believe that he did throw him, maybe. Because he would do that. He's a big guy.
The inspector was clearly killed having returned to Britain because his body was found in London.
No, he was not killed in Britain.
Ippon seoi?
Yeah, jujitsu. Yeah, makes sense.
A common jujitsu martial arts technique in my country. I was careful not to use too much force, but the man obviously landed too heavily for his watch to take. So, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Imagine you can see the flaw in your logic now, can't you?
What?
The fact that the pocket watch was broken in the witness's cabin in no way proves that the victim's murder took place there.
We know there was a bullet hole in the wall. We just don't have a picture of it, though.
I've no doubt the inspector intended to kill me, but he didn't manage to pull the trigger.
Liar.
Yes, because he was merely the tactician, not the reaper's hand of death. Well, testimony appears to make perfect sense as far as I can tell. Let me express my deep gratitude for your understanding, my lord.
But if this testimony holds, Judge Shigoku will be deemed to have had no involvement in the case.
Well, counsel, I see no reason for wasting precious court time here on a cross-examination.
Oh, come on. Sorry, my lord. The defense has a right to cross-examine, and I don't intend to squander that.
You're an embarrassment to your countrymen, not knowing when you're beaten.
Shut up.
In that case, proceed, Mr. Naruhodo.
Man, poor Ryunosuke has to deal with such BS from these jerks. He's being bullied left and right. You had a guest. Okay. Which one am I sus on? That he threw him?
Hold it!
Even though the man had a gun? That was a very brave move, wasn't it?
My Ippon Seoi is far faster than a bullet, I can assure you.
But surely all the commotion caused the crewmen to come in, didn't it?
Yes, of course. He burst in immediately without knocking. Inspector hurled himself at the stocky fellow and just managed to slip past him to make his escape.
The outstanding guard does it again.
Luckily, there aren't many situations I can't get out of using a quick Ippon Seoi throw.
Sure. Imagine his watch was broken. Nothing to do with his murder. What was the last statement again? Oh, that he was clearly killed, having returned to Britain because his body was found in London. No! He was killed in your room. How do we... We don't have a picture of the bullet hole in his wall. I don't know. I don't know.
Hold it!
But there's no evidence that proves the victim ever returned to London alive.
Just take a moment to think that idea of yours through now, Stripling.
What?
If the inspector was killed on the steamship in France, how on earth could he have got back to Britain?
In the in the trunk. Do we have the trunk? Yeah, we have the trunk. No, we have we have the other trunk, the smaller one. Where do we have something of your big ass trunk?
When people die, their bodies remain at that same spot. It's a devil of a thing.
Well then, obviously the culprit must have moved the body. Yeah.
How exactly?
You carried him.
Carrying a corpse off a ship in your arms would raise a few eyebrows at least, don't you think?
Well, yes, that's true, but...
All passenger luggage is inspected. when it is unloaded from arriving vessels. And I would like to think the border police would query the corpse of an English gentleman as hand luggage.
Wait, he just said all passengers inspect when unloading from arriving vessels. Is there a way around it though?
If the murder had taken place aboard the ship, you would imagine the body would have been disposed of at sea. There would be no sense in risking being caught by attempting to transport the body back to Britain.
But that's what he did, so... let's kill that idea then. But perhaps not.
Mrs. Sato?
But how did he get around it getting inspected? We've heard that the first-class passengers were under constant scrutiny by the crewmen posted to guard them, which would mean that the culprit had no opportunity to dispose of the body in the sea. Ah, okay.
Yes, that's true.
So transporting the body to Britain may have been the only viable alternative.
Dear me, you really are new to this, aren't you? I thought I'd been perfectly clear, but it seems I'm going to have to explain it in words you can understand. I think I ought to alter my testimony, with your consent, of course, my lord.
There goes my dog barking. I'm actually gonna have to end the episode soon.
I have no objection. State your amended testimony now. There's no possible way I could have transported the victim's corpse back to Britain.
But...
Hold it!
There's an idea.
Think about it, Stripling. All passengers and crew disembarked at the same time and passed through the same checks at the border. The symposium guests were then driven straight to the hotel in carriages organized by the ministry.
And we met you as soon as you arrived at the hotel.
So you did. Well then, remind me, did I have a corpse over my shoulder at the time?
What? No.
So we're in agreement then. I couldn't possibly have brought the inspector's body back to Britain. Unless, of course, they've developed some clever device these days to instantly move things from A to B.
Funny you should say that. Professor Harebrain's invention didn't actually work, if you remember, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, of course.
The defense has become unusually quiet, I notice. Yes, because there's really nothing more to say.
How do we... the trunk?
So that's his story.
Well, I suppose if you think about it, whenever you drop a teacup in the office and it breaks, you don't say, Mr. Naruhodo must have been murdered there, do we? Is that a veiled threat about what might happen to me if I break another one? And the fact is that Inspector Greggson's body was found in a little room on Fresno Street. If he really was killed in Judge Jigoku's cabin,
The body would have to have been moved somehow, obviously.
transporting a dead body over a country border, that would be impossible for the majority of people. So there must have been some special circumstances that made it possible for the culprit then. That could be a vital realization, I think, Mr. Naruhodo. Special circumstances for him? Does he mention it somewhere? What's his special circumstance? Just the fact that he's a judge, maybe? Or the foreign affairs guy? But I don't see... What evidence can I use for this? We don't have much about Jigoku in here. Anything Jigoku related? Oh, the morning... Oh, there it is. It's in the picture. I mean, that's the only thing that has the trunk in it, but I don't know if it has anything about his special circumstance. We can try. I'm kind of nervous about it. I mean, I'm jumping to it, but...
Objection!
Oh, okay. I guess we were supposed to just figure that out. Great. But how? How are we gonna say he did it? There's no possible way you could have moved Inspector Gregson's body, you say? I would say the opposite is true.
And what's that supposed to mean?
Far from being impossible for you to do. The transporting of Inspector Gregson's body back to Britain is something only you could do.
What are you talking about, Ryunosuke?
As well as being a judge, Mr. Jigoku is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs, right? Which means he's exempt. Oh. I wish they had made that a little clearer, but okay. From having his luggage searched when he enters the country. That is a big, big oversight. Oh. We learned that when we first met you upon your arrival in London. Did we? I don't remember. Oh, they probably did talk about it and I completely forgot. Oh, they did. Of course I forgot. That was ages ago.
Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches took a long time. I must say, I'm very envious of your...
Oh. You didn't have to go through any of that. Dang it. I forgot. I was so focused on how big the trunk was. Knew you were jealous. The clues were there. I presume you recall this, Judge Jigoku. It's a photograph we took in the foyer of the hotel to mark the occasion. As the court will note, you have with you your large travel trunk. Large enough, in fact, to have a corpse inside. Mr. Naruhodo, surely you're not suggesting... I'm afraid I am, yes. 3 days ago, when we were chatting innocently with the new arrivals from Japan in the hotel, that's really creepy. The body of Inspector Gregson was just meters away from us, inside Judge Jigoku's trunk. Probably had ice with it too. Although you would think it'd be leaking, like melting, you know?
Ugh. Order, order, order in the court. I'm skeptical, counsel, that a grown man's body could fit inside even the largest travel trunk.
I mean, Jigoku himself was inside it, so... It could. Because I happen to know... Yeah, which is weird as frick. That the witness himself, a man of considerable size, fits inside his trunk, which is ridiculous. I mean, it looks like he cut off some parts of his body to do that. Looks weird as hell. And verifying that would be extremely simple, wouldn't it, Judge Jigoku? But inside his trunk? How horrifying! And after we'd spoken with you at the Great Waterloo Hotel, you had the opportunity to visit the apparent scene on Fresno Street, taking your trunk with you in a cab to deposit the inspector's body.
I don't have to listen to this nonsense.
Dr. Gori, the coroner who examined the body, has confirmed the possibility. She's acknowledged there are signs that steps may have been taken to disguise the true time of death. The onset of the body's decomposition could have been delayed by storing it in a refrigerator.
Counsel, as I remember explaining yesterday, Refrigerators of the requisite size are few and far between.
Yes, I'm sure they are. But one place they're certainly found is on large ocean liners.
Yeah, what you say now?
Such ships are equipped with electrically refrigerated cold rooms to keep food fresh on their long sea voyages. And the SS Grouse is no exception. Professor Mikotoba told me about it only yesterday. Well, Judge Jigoku. However much you prolong this debate, you can't eliminate the truth. All the evidence points to you being the killer.
Well, this is all very heartening. I can see that it was a wise move, letting Asogi and you embark on this study tour. What are you talking about now? Logical reasoning, of course. All court proceedings will be built on logical reasoning in the new century. And I can see that you've both laid firm foundations for that already.
Judge Jigoku, please, stop diverting attention from the issue at hand. The defense has made an accusation against you. How do you respond?
Respond? There's really no need for me to respond, is there?
Why ever not?
Because before you can even begin to answer the question of when the victim was killed, you must first establish one key fact. Where was the victim killed? It's quite logical.
The actual scene of the crime?
The prosecution's stance is unaltered. The killing took place on Fresno Street when the gunshot was heard. After everything we talked about, Cosmo, you still ain't gonna change your mind. Come on, man. As the accused, Barack Von Zeke shot the victim at point-blank range.
Since no tangible evidence exists to disprove the prosecution's claim at this time, the defense's deductions amount to little more than an elaborate fairy tale. I'm afraid that's how the logical reasoning the British are known for really works, young stripling.
The victim was shot in that little room on Fresno Street and died instantly. I'm afraid it's the prosecution's claim that's the only fairy tale here.
How can you say that? We gotta stop this stupid story that you keep telling. Once and for all. Shut him up.
Quite simply, because that claim directly contradicts a certain piece of evidence in our possession.
Oh?
Oh, I don't know. Very tantalizing, counsel. I think you had better explain yourself to the court, don't you?
The prosecution claims that Inspector Gregson died instantly when he was shot at the scene on Fresno Street. But this evidence clearly contradicts that claim. Oh, I want to end the episode.
I don't know. What are we saying? I mean, there's a lot of arguments I could make here, so I'm kind of like, eh? But I don't have proof of the bullet hole, so... I don't know. What do we have? Autopsy? Anything? Oh no, that's Clint Van Zeke's wrong one. What are we gonna say? I mean, there's all that blood, though. The red wig is weird. We could we argue that? I mean, we could finally talk about like his positioning of his body. Clearly, that's the position of someone who was curled up in a ball because he was inside the trunk, right? That's one thing we could say. I'm trying to look. We still can't talk about the hole in the wall. The gun? Do we have anything else that might... anything new? Telegram. Passport. I don't know. I'm kind of lost here. I kind of think my idea is a good idea, but I'm not sure if we can go with that. The fact that he's in a ball. But that's like, this is old, so I kept looking at like new evidence thinking maybe we could use new evidence, but I don't know.
Take that!
Oh my god, that was it? Really? Okay, let's go. That was hard. I kept looking for the longest time. Okay.
A photograph of the victim in the very location you claim he wasn't killed.
Yes. But the point is the posture. Yeah. Yes. Okay, finally. I mean, that's a mystery we never solved, right? Until now. The posture of the body itself. If Inspector Gregson had been shot there, in that room, it's out of the question that his body would have been curled up in a ball like that.
Objection. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but your logic is flawed. You could easily have adopted that fetal position due to the pain of the shot, which subsequently proved fatal.
Objection!
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Judge Jigoku, but it's your logic that is flawed.
What?
According to this autopsy report, the victim died instantly.
He didn't die in agony, like, you know, clutching himself in pain.
He would have felt no pain, much less have been able to draw himself into that position.
Oh!
Which begs the question of why the victim's body is curled up in that way. Though the answer should be abundantly clear by now.
You're suggesting...
The inspector's body took on that posture ahead of its arrival on Fresno Street, before it was coldly turned out on the floor from the inside of a large travel trunk.
No.
You're quite right. The shape of the body. It looks exactly as if it had been kept in a confined space.
Yep. Took us long enough to get to that point.
Judge Jigoku, present your trunk for examination. I believe it's very possible that it will contain traces of the victim's blood.
Ugh. Present my trunk. Refuse.
What?
On what grounds?
I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs from the Empire of Japan. I shouldn't have to put up with this treatment just because of some stripling's baseless accusations.
In other words, Judge Jigoku, there is blood in your trunk.
I decline to answer that. As the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I have privileges that...
Oh. At this moment, you're not a government minister. You are a witness in a trial in Britain's highest court.
Ugh.
I don't care who you are or what your status outside this courtroom might be. You will not withhold information. Get 'em! Nothing is more important than the truth.
Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you.
Order in court. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what's it to be? It's like, help me, you fool! Because I'm totally screwed.
You can't be serious. You did it?
Have you no shame at all, Kazuma Asogi?
What? You gonna point the finger at him now?
Very well, I admit it. I did bring the inspector's body into the country. Inside my trunk, exactly as postulated by the defense.
What?
You, dear God, outrageous.
So it was you. You admit to Inspector Gregson's murder.
No, I admit nothing more than what I've said.
Oh, he's gonna say, I helped, but I did not kill him.
Of killing the man, I certainly have no recollection. What on earth is that cryptic statement supposed to mean? I merely disposed of the inspector's body, which was left in my cabin, in order to avoid unwanted attention. As the judicial assistant over there pointed out, I had no chance to throw it into the ocean. So, I decided my only option was to bring it into Britain with me and dispose of it somewhere else.
You can't still deny it. If you didn't do it, then who on earth did kill the man?
As you know, there was one other person in my cabin that night. He had the opportunity. And moreover, he'd already accepted a mission to take the inspector's life.
I knew you were gonna do this.
Oh,
That's right. Who else could it have been? It was you, Kazuma Asogi.
You. I never thought you'd stoop to this, Seishiro Jigoku.
You've taken the words straight out of my mouth, Prosecutor Kazuma Asogi. You thought by leaving the body in my cabin you could pin the crime on me, did you? Well, the prosecution counsel has already admitted to visiting the witness's cabin on the night in question. Yes, on an assassination mission, no less.
You wouldn't.
So, what do you make of that, young stripling? You've heard my testimony now, and that's all I have to say on the matter. I'll admit to nothing more.
I don't believe this.
Counsel for the defense. What is your position now? The court awaits your response to the witness's assertion.
Well, y'all gonna have to wait for a while longer, because that's it for me. I'm tired. And all I can do is hope and pray that everything will be okay for the next episode. Alright, thank you so much for watching. We're making good progress, I think. Hopefully everything will be good for next time. And I don't know how many episodes we got left. Maybe only 2? Maybe 3? I don't know. But I hope you're enjoying this. And yeah. Thanks for watching, and until next time, have a nice day. Bye-bye.